DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. I hear from athletes often. I hear from athletes all the time on different subjects. One thing that athletes say to me often that I don't think, I'm sure I made a video on this before, I want to make an updated one, is an athlete will tell me, Dre, I want to make it in basketball. I want to go somewhere in my sport. And it's usually basketball as a subject. And they say, I work hard. I practice every single day. I'm doing my conditioning right now. I'm getting my shots in. I'm doing this kind of workout. I'm getting up early. I'm staying late. I hired a trainer. I just joined this gym. And athletes, they tell me about the work that they're putting in on their game. And I understand people sharing that stuff with me because, that's really how I came out, was showing y'all on video how I was putting in the work on my game. But I want to give you all a news flash and a dose of, I guess we can call this a dose of reality that maybe some of you, I think you're all consciously aware of, unconsciously aware of, but you haven't really been thinking about. Nobody gives a fuck about your hard work. Nobody cares that you're training X number of hours or that you sacrifice this and that to work on your game. Nobody's concerned with the fact that you about to hire a trainer, or that you're getting up early, or that you put up this many shots every day, or you spend this many hours in the gym. And this is not just, you might think that it's just like the younger players, like a 15, 16-year-old kid who's thinking these things matter. As far as, it matters to put the time in, but it doesn't matter to anybody else that you put the time in. But it's not just the youngins. I hear from grown men, people who are in their 30s saying these things, telling me about the work that they're putting in, the time they're putting into their game and all that, as if that's like the more time you put in, that means you're going to get a certain result, or you guaranteed something, or somebody should be impressed, or you're owed something. Listen, don't nobody give a fuck that you've been working on your game. Nobody gives a fuck how much time, the time, the effort, the money, the attention, the focus, all of those things are required. Those are 5 investments that you have to make to be successful. But just because you made those investments does not mean you're going to be successful. Do y'all understand? And this is something that a lot of people, when they look at things on the surface, they don't quite understand. For example, in basketball, I remember when Kyrie Irving came into the NBA. And we know Kyrie Irving was a great ball handler. He's great at dribbling the ball. And he'd be doing his moves and scoring his points, and he won Rookie of the Year, and everybody's dazzled by this guy's handle. And people would say, yo, well, what drills does Kyrie Irving do? Because, if I do drills like Kyrie Irving, this is the way people think, this is linear thinking, then I can have the success that Kyrie Irving has. And listen, while it is true that Kyrie Irving probably does dribbling drills, actually I know for a fact that Kyrie Irving does dribbling drills, he probably does them really well, he's probably been doing them for a long time. It's also true that there are 100 other guards in the NBA who do dribbling drills. And there are another 100 or 1,000 overseas who do dribbling drills. And there's another 1,000 in college, and there's another 1,000 who ain't playing nowhere who do dribbling drills. And there's another 10,000 YouTubers who do dribbling drills. So just because, this is the point that I'm making here, just because you do dribbling drills does not mean you're going to become Kyrie Irving, because there are 10,000 people doing drills, but there's only one Kyrie. So it takes more than just doing the work. It takes more than just putting in the time. It takes more than just, I'm making these sacrifices, or I'm putting this effort out, or whatever you think you're doing when you're grinding, or you're going hard, or you're putting everything you have into becoming successful. I'm not telling you that it doesn't matter. I'm not telling you to stop doing it. What I'm telling you is nobody gives a fuck that you're doing it. The only point at which people start caring about the effort and the time and the money and the focus, the only time people start caring about that you put into your game is when your game starts producing a result. That's it. See, Kyrie Irving, had he not gone to Duke and played D1, had he not done that, had he not gone to the NBA, had he just become a street baller with great handle who was doing his thing, and maybe he would have become something on the internet, who knows. But if he had just been a guy who was playing in the street and he never, quote unquote, made it anywhere, nobody would give a fuck about the time that he put into his handle. Nobody be asking him, yo, what drills did you do? Or, what time were you getting up in the morning to work on your game? Nobody would care about that stuff. And it's something that I've told people. I mentioned this on my podcast. If y'all haven't heard the Work on Your Game podcast, I don't know what the fuck you doing. It's on, just go find a podcast. I ain't gotta explain this shit. Look, Nobody wants to hear about your story until you've created success. Once you create a certain level of success, then the people who notice your success, are impressed by your success, or they see your success as noteworthy, they're gonna wanna know what's the backstory, like how did this happen? I remember 2 Chainz in his mixtape, his True Religion mixtape, he said, now everybody's trying to get me to, come up with some story, or what's the backstory of how I got to this point that I am right now, the DJ Drama mixtape. That's exactly what I'm saying here. Nobody cared about 2 Chainz's story until he made himself hot to the point that he was buzzing. His name was buzzing, at least at that time that tape came out. Everybody was talking about 2 Chainz, and that's when everybody wanted to know, yo, what's your story? How'd you do it? What was your grind? But listen, he had a story. He was doing the work. He was rapping. He was in the studio. He was grinding before that. And if he had never got to that point where he was so hot that he was the #1 dude buzzing at the moment, and some of y'all remember when that was, if he never got to that point, nobody would have asked him about his story. But that doesn't mean his story didn't exist. So like I'm telling y'all, listen, you got a story. Everybody has a story. You work hard. A lot of people work hard. You do drills. You show up. You go to the gym. All the stuff that you do, you're not the only person doing it. You're not the first one to do it. You won't be the last one to do it. And again, that doesn't mean it doesn't matter. You're not doing it in vain. Maybe you are doing it in vain, because you might not make it. And everybody ain't going to make it. The thing is, nobody cares. All right, so stop talking about how you're grinding and you're going hard and you're putting this time in and you're doing these things. Not stop talking about it because you're doing anything wrong, but because nobody cares. Like, it's not impressive because everybody's doing that. There's a whole bunch of people like you, a whole bunch of people who ain't gonna make it doing the exact same things that you're doing right now. There's a whole bunch of people who ain't going nowhere doing the same grind and the same hustle, or at least they talking about the same grind and the same hustle that you're talking about. In the end, the only thing that's really gonna matter is the stories of the people who actually made it. And it takes more than just hard work, than just time, than just effort, than just faith, belief, like all the words you could come up with for your grind and your dedication and all that shit. It takes more than all of that to make it. It takes a little bit of luck to make it. It takes a little bit of timing to make it. It takes some things that you may not quite be able to control to make it. And if you don't have those things, I don't care how much grind and effort you put in, it ain't gonna work for you. And I'm just telling you that as that's just the straight up truth. And if you want to know what those elements are, June 22nd, Books and Books, Miami, Coral Gables, Books and Books is an independent bookstore. I think it's the largest independent bookstore, definitely in Miami. I don't know, maybe in the nation, I don't know. But Books and Books Miami, Coral Gables, June 22nd, 7 p.m. I'm doing a live event where I'm going to be talking about my book. It is called Work on Your Game. You didn't know I had a book called Work on Your Game. Listen, come to the event. It's free to get to the event, free to come in, free to sit down, listen. You can buy the book on the spot. I will autograph your book, take pictures, I'm gonna be answering questions. I'm gonna talk about what I just said. It takes more than hard work to make it. A lot of people, either they haven't heard, actually many of these concepts people have not heard of, or maybe you heard, but you don't quite understand them, how to make them work for you. I understand those things. I have codified it. I know how to explain it. That's why I write books. That's why I make these videos. That's why I got 1,000 podcast episodes. So again, that's June 22nd. That's at dreallday.com/book. I will put the link down there, but if it's not there, just hit me in the comments. I'll give you the link. Again, dreallday.com/book, or just go to my website. There's a button at the top with a link to register free for that event. But the point here is, look, all the hard work is good, but it ain't no story, because when there's a story, people will be asking you. You won't have to force a story on nobody. They'll be asking you for the story. And until you get to that point, listen, don't keep talking about it. Just do what you got to do, and get to where you got to get to. But it's certain elements that go into that your average motivational speaker / trainer / hooper, I don't care how good they are, won't be able to give it to you because they just can't articulate the point. But I can. And that's why I'm here. So you want to get more of that, that's in my game group membership, which is at dreallday.com/membership. Link to that is also in the video description. That's where I go deeper on all these subjects I talk about on video. You want to know how to actually do it, the hands-on strategy coaching. I do all that in the game group, if you're ready for that. Everybody's not ready. Some people just want to keep it at the basic level. That's all good. All right, the basics is for the basics, and the advance is for the advance. Everybody got to get in where they fit in. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.